It's the race that stops the nation.
The one day of the year where Australians get frocked up and fancy to enjoy a few regal hours watching the sport of kings. And then we drink like Keith Richards and turn back into the spawn of bogan convicts that we fundamentally are.
Do you have a bet?
I bet what I can afford to lose, which is a journo, is $0.00. So no. It's hard enough to chalk any gambling win, even when it's a fair bet.
That money's my daughter's college tuition.
Yeah? Well, she just got accepted to the School of Hard Knocks.
But history suggests horse racing is the single most corrupt form of gambling on earth. When we think of modern racing scandals, one name stands out.
Fine Cotton's in front, they're drawing to the line.
Fine Cotton was a horse which Wikipedia describes as having limited abilities.
Pretty harsh.
So limited that he was paying 33 to 1 at Eagle Farm Racecourse in Brisbane in 1984. Perfect ring-in candidate. You know what a ring-in is?
Sort of.
Yeah. Get a horse that's slower than a cow so the odds are high, and at the last minute swap them out for one that looks the same but can actually gallop. The ring-in for Fine Cotton was bold personality. Problem was, Fine Cotton had white markings on his hind legs. So what did they do?
Trust British paints? Sure can.
Even the stewards at that bastion of sporting ethics, the Queensland Turf Club, couldn't turn a blind eye to the betting plunge or the paint running off the horse's legs after the race.
It's pretty audacious.
It is, but nothing compared with some of the other scams. Newcastle 1903. Gentleman Jim was owned by James Kingsley. The first clue that there was a scam brewing came from James's nickname. He was known as the Grafter. The horse was long odds because he was carrying 68 kilos, but suspiciously, he still won. Everyone thought the Grafter had pulled a shifty, and the weight the horse is carrying came up 13 kilos lighter. Kingsley literally stamps his feet and demands a reweigh, and the weight the horse is carrying comes in at the regulation 68 kilos. They find a trapdoor under the scales, and there's a kid in the hole holding a 13 kilo weight, waiting to adjust the scales. Guess what his cue was?
The stamping feet?
That's right.
Jeez, even Laurie Connell would blush at that one.
Laurie wrote the book on this stuff. He started ripping punters off in Kalgoorlie in the 1970s. By 1984, he was the head of Rothwell's Bank, but still a dodgy crook. Pays jockey Danny Hobby to jump off a horse at that year's AHA Cup. Then he pays Danny $4,000 a month to stay overseas so he can't testify at the ensuing inquiry. Laurie clearly gave not one about the threat of sanctions, because 3 years later his horse Rocket Racer wins the Perth Cup by 9 lengths. The horse was so dosed up on elephant juice he did another lap before they could stop him, and then he collapsed like Han Solo's Tauntaun in Empire Strikes Back. 1972 was the Royal School scandal at Casterton, Victoria. The first hint with this one was the fact that owner Rick Renzella was a former used car salesman.
Nobody ever got rich being honest.
He chose a ring-in that was so fast everyone knew something was up. They then worked out the horse looked awfully familiar. It was familiar because Royal School was in fact Regal Vista, which had won the 1970 Liston Stakes at Caulfield.
Subtle.
Yeah, this one's better. 1955, Thundering Legion goes from paying $33 to $3. The chief steward at the Adelaide track confronts jockey Bill Attrell because he knows something's up. When he grabs Attrell's whip, he receives an electric shock. The steward is smart enough to order another jockey to ride Thundering Legion, but not smart enough to stop him using that same whip, which was loaded with a battery, and guess what?
The horse won.
Yeah, that's right. It's not all ancient history either. The so-called biggest scandal in Australian racing history was in 2018. The Aquanita race day treatment saw 8 people charged with dosing horses with bicarb and tripart paste. That Go Juice scandal was just 4 years ago.
What is it about racing?
It's full of crooks. Calling someone a racing identity is like calling someone a Northbridge identity or a King's Cross identity. It's code for gangster. The place is riddled with Goodfellas. Underworld figure Stephen Cookson is best known for being the former owner of the Head, which was found at Rottnest Island in 2013. Steve-O's body parted ways with his noggin, courtesy of an angle grinder wielded by Aaron Carlino.
That's not the way to get ahead in life.
No.
Up until then, Cookson called himself an equine consultant. He was banned from associating with the racing industry after he punched out a trainer in 2008. Trainer Shane Edwards sold horses in Asia without telling their owners. The biggest public sector scandal in WA history, Paul Whyte and the Department of Communities. Where did the money go? Racehorses.
You're just grumpy because you didn't back a winner.
Interpretation. I'm Ben Harvey. For more Up Late, click the subscribe button below.